I'm Judith Monroe, and this is my darkroom bathroom. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make a positive contact print from your pinhole paper negative. Are you ready? So the first thing that you want to do before you begin making a pinhole negative or making a positive from the negative, is to make sure that you have all of your supplies handy. You can see I even have my directions printed out so I don't forget to tell you something. And so first of all, I've got a piece of glass and a piece of cardboard, and I actually have another piece of cardboard. I really only need one, but you'll see why that can be helpful. I have my notebook for taking notes because I totally want to know what I have done and keep track of it. It's going to help me. I have my negative. This is the pinhole negative, my most recent favorite one. Handy box right there. Over here, I've mixed up my Caffenol chemistry. So as a reminder, the Caffenol developer is made from water, sodium carbonate, which is washing soda, and instant coffee and vitamin C powder. If you're like, oh my gosh, what the heck is that? Go back a few videos and find the video that shows you how to mix that up. Our stop bath is water, and then I have my salt fixer, which you can see has a little bit of salt not dissolved. So I added a little too much salt is what my problem was. But that's distilled water, and I have a cup of iodized salt. So, oh yeah, and my paper. This is a really important part. This is my sealed up darkroom light sensitive paper. And then I could use the white light, that fixture right there, to make these exposures. But when I did that before, I had prints that were super, that were dark, and I had to try to just barely flick the light on and off. So today I'm gonna try two different things. I have a little night light here. I'll try that as a light source. And then I have another reading light here, which I hope I don't have to use because this is harder to control. So I'm hoping that my little night light is going to work, which is why my cardboard and glass are over there. So the first thing I've done is I have turned off my white light. You can see I have my safe light pointed up and away, so it's not shining directly on anything here. So down here in the corner where it's really hard to see, I am opening up my box of paper, and I am taking out a single sheet. And in the dark, I'm also going to seal up my box again. And I'm going to make sure that I have the emulsion side of this paper up, which is also the side that feels a little more shiny. And then I'm going to put it face up and my negative face down so that they're completely lined up with each other as much as I can do in the dark. And this is where I'm putting it on top of this piece of cardboard and under this piece of glass. So I have this little sandwich of materials: cardboard, unexposed paper face up, emulsion up, the negative face down, image down on top of it. And what I'm going to do now is use another piece of cardboard to cover up everything but about 1 inch of this image. And then I'm going to turn on my little light, and I'm going to pay attention to the clock on my wall, which is ticking seconds. And this is going to be a little tricky. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to move it 1, 2, 3, and that was pretty much everything, and I just moved everything, so that kind of sucks. I also just covered up all of my paper. Moving that glass may have just cost me a sharp image, but we'll see. I've taken apart a whole sandwich, and I'm going to take just the plain unexposed paper over to my Caffenol developer. And now I'm putting this paper under my Caffenol developer, and my time for processing Caffenol is about 4 minutes. So I'm not going to just continuously tape the whole 4 minutes, but I'm going to sit here and agitate for the whole 4 minutes. So it's hard to see, but this is my print that spent 4 minutes in the Caffenol and is now in this water stop bath. And I still have to be really careful. I can't turn any white lights on, but I have to try to assess what the image looks like. I can look at this and see that I am at least in the ballpark, so to speak. And I know that it's darkest at the top because that's the area that got the most light. Remember, I uncovered that paper, so there was 3 seconds for the first about inch, 3 seconds for the next inch. So that puts 6 there and 3 there, and then another 3 seconds. So that's 3 times 3 is 9, and 6 and 3, and then another 3 seconds and 3 seconds. So at the bottom it had 3 seconds, then 6, then 9, then 12, then 15. Oh my gosh, suddenly I can't count by threes. So I'm gonna take a kind of a guess, and because I have a fence behind it and a cactus here, I'm gonna guess that 12 seconds is a good exposure. And because I can't see real clearly, it's kind of a guess. And so I might even try a 9-second exposure and a 12-second exposure, and just do both of them so that I have a couple of options when I'm done. But before I do anything else, I'm going to put this in my salt fixer, and then I'm putting a cover on my salt fixer. I'm using an old paper box upside down because I had it, and because the lid that I made sort of self-destructed. So I'm back over here in my exposure corner, and I have my fresh paper face up, emulsion up, my negative face down, emulsion down, and I'm going to make a 10-second exposure because it's between 9 and 12, and sometimes that's how we work. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I turn it off. And I'm going to go through this process again, another 4 minutes in the Caffenol, and then into the, stop. After 4 minutes in my Caffenol, I didn't feel like I was getting enough blacks. It is just super hard for my camera to see this at all. It's almost better that way. But when I'm looking at this, I should be able to see at least lights and darks. And I wasn't seeing enough darks. And there's 2 ways to get darks in our printing process. I can increase exposure to get darker tones, but I can also increase my development time to get darker tones in this. So I was seeing, I can see light areas, and so I wanted to see if I could get the darker areas darker. So I went to 5 minutes on my development time. I will probably also try a couple of other variations. I could go with even less time maybe and a longer development so that I can increase like the less time will make my light areas lighter. The increased development will bring my dark areas down, and I'll effectively increase my contrast that way. So I'm gonna try that. I ended up making 6 different prints, and one of them I actually made a mistake on. I somehow distracted myself and put the paper I was printing on emulsion side down, which produced a very, very faint image, and it wasn't flipped like it should have been. So that's how I knew that I had done that. So I had to redo it, and that's a warning to you. It's really easy to mix things up a little bit in the dark. Everything is now in the fixer and covered up, so I can turn my white light back on. Woo! And I will be posting another video in 3 or 4 days. Well, 3 days, because it'll be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So when it's time to actually take those prints out of the salt fixer, while they're in there, every 6 to 8 hours, I'm gonna come in here, turn the white light off, use my safe light, and agitate and rotate those prints. That's what I have found will actually get them all thoroughly fixed in the salt fixer. Considering that it's just salt water, it's kind of crazy that it'll fix it all. So it's just a long process this way. But I'll do a reveal video then. And until then, I'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe and comment. Thanks. Bye.